Hey, what's up? It's Doug Cunnington here, founder of Niche Site Project, and I'm sorry I'm late. I think, I rebooted my computer right before the session here, and unfortunately, it took longer to reboot than normal. I have no idea why. And in fact, it's a little noisy right now, so that's not the greatest thing, but I see a bunch of people are on, which is awesome. See Archer and Kat, and before we go on, we always got to do a sound check, right? So I see Preetam says hello. Dennis is on, so say hello. Let me know where you're from. I see Dennis lets us know he's from Vancouver, so awesome. Kat's on as well, and I suspect because no one said, hey, we can't hear you, that you actually can hear me. So this is great. And let's see. We have Walk with God, Brian, Heidi, John, Paul, Robert, Leo, Ken, and Doug, other Doug. It could be that we have a very special guest on. Is other Doug my dad? Is that accurate? We may have a very special guest. Paul from Abilene, very cool. Kat from Bristol in the UK. All right. So as we're like waiting for other people to join, I can tell a little story. So today, I have a good friend joining us. Well, he'll be on tomorrow, but he won't be here now. So a good friend TJ is coming in to visit for the weekend, and his flight's coming in early. Like he's gonna land at 1, and he was supposed to show up at like 8, but his basically his plans changed. He's gonna have to travel for work next week, so his trip got shorter and all that stuff. So anyway, the point is the amount of work that I could do today shortened quite a bit because I'll have to entertain TJ. We may do a little work this afternoon. I know he has some stuff this afternoon as well. But anyway, you have to be flexible with whatever it is you're working on. Even if you have a flexible schedule like me, there are issues and things that crop up. And I won't even get into the tech issues that I had yesterday with Aweber and other stuff like that. But no matter what you're doing, there's always going to be some, issue that you'll have to work around. And it's really not a huge deal, but it's definitely shifted the stuff that I'm going to have to work. And oh yeah, so other Doug is actually my dad. So everyone welcome my dad to the webinar today. Thanks for joining. And Rami, awesome. Leo's on. Very cool. Okay, so we'll get into it today. And oh, Dad, you can tell Mom that everyone always sees the quilt over here, by the way. People really like it. They comment on it all the time. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the session. And I didn't mention it yet, but today is the SEO plan for sort of get traffic to your site. I mean, that's the thing. I actually talked to a couple people this morning that, they purchased done for you sites, and they have sites, they have content, they don't know how to get traffic. So I think it's a really, big gap in knowledge to get traffic to your site. So we'll go over a couple things that should help. And basically, no matter what kind of site you have, if it's a brand new site or one that already gets traffic, then you should be able to implement some of this stuff to, get more traffic, improve your SEO in general. So we'll get into it. People can hear me, so that's good. All generalizations are false, including this one. That's a Mark Twain quote. I do put this in because this is my personal take on SEO and approaches that you can take. I will mention there's a couple things that I'm going to cover in the session that I don't actually do since they're a little more risky, but they do work, so I will talk about them. And the thing to remember, whether I'm telling you how to do SEO or you're hearing it from someone else, a lot of times it's generalized. Things will sound simpler than they really are because this is a bit of an overview here. And quick note, I see Faraz says, is the webinar on? If you have any trouble either with audio or video, mention it in the chat so we can see, but usually if you just refresh your stream, it should work okay, hopefully. Since I upgraded to like fiber to the house here and I don't use Wi-Fi anymore, I'm like I have like an Ethernet cable. Since I've done that, things have been more secure, so try to refresh for us. So who am I? I'm Doug Cunnington, like I said, founder of Niche Site Project, and this just happened to be the picture in here, Dad. So this is my dad and I, Old Faithful, with Brody, who's now passed away, but that was in Yellowstone almost a year ago, last summer. So funny that I had that picture in there. So why should you listen to me? I have a past track record with niche sites and having them do well. I've coached a lot of other people. I have a course, 5-Figure Niche Site, which I will tell you a little bit about later on in the webinar. I've done a lot of guest blogging on big blogs, and I am a project management professional as well. So I have been featured on several blogs. You'll probably recognize them. I won't read them out or anything there. And most recently, it was on Social Triggers by Derek Halpern. And just, I'm just want to double check since I haven't seen any more from the chat. I just want to double check if everyone can hear me. Just want to double check because I have actually done a full 40 minutes and no one could hear or see me. So that was, I learned my lesson then. So usually I'll ask. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. So here's sort of like my progression and the timeline here. In about 2013, I learned about niche sites and WordPress and making money online. It went kind of slow at first, but then it went really well. And like all good internet marketing stories, I was making a lot of money each day, and then my site got penalized and my revenue and income went down overnight. That happened a couple more times before I changed my tactics and did less risky link building, which is very appropriate for the topic today. And basically, I need to update this graph. A business partner and I just sold one of our sites for $235,000 like last month. So that's really good, and that should raise the roller coaster here. It should be a hill up here. Okay. Next little note: Q&A is at the end, and I'll try to not pay too much attention to the chat just because it distracts me a tad. So if you hold your questions till the end, that's great. If you think of them as we're going through here, you can type them in. Please mark them as a question, as Robert did there. There's a way to do that in the drop down to the left of the chat box. And Robert is asking, will the video remain on YouTube? Yeah, it'll be over on YouTube. It may not be released until a week or two from now, but it will be over there. If you're here, it means you got a link and you're on the email list with Webinar Jam. So you should get an email from Webinar Jam for the replay where you can watch it in a couple hours once we finish. So why niche sites? For me, it was like the gateway into internet marketing in general. So you learn tons of different stuff around different aspects of sites. SEO, again, the topic for today. You learn about hosting, buying domains, WordPress, themes, content, buying content, writing it. So there's a whole like aspect of making money online and internet marketing that you can learn about in all these different areas. And I mean, some people don't want to do the full gamut of like niche sites. They want to, stick with SEO and create an agency, for example, or maybe they really like design and they become, a WordPress developer. So in that case, you can, leave your niche site behind and focus on the area that you really excel at. For example, if you happen to have an artistic background or education, like maybe graphic design is the perfect area that you can get into, and you find it through niche sites. The other reason niche sites are great is it's an awesome way to really create a business with pretty low overhead. I mean, you can basically start a site by the end of the day for, under $150. And then, within a month or two, you could probably start making your first revenue. So this is a friend of mine, Dave Fox, and he and I worked together a bit, and starting in 2015. So at that point, Dave had, a couple sites. They didn't get any money, basically very little traffic, and he just wasn't quite sure what to do. So we worked on a couple coaching sessions, about 5 or 6 of them, from January 2015 to about May or so. And this here is his 2016 revenue, and you can see he basically, I think this was about $2,000 at the January early time frame, and by June he was making $5,000 a month. And I think here it was nearly $7,000, and currently he's still making about $5,000 a month, which for him is a full-time income, and he was doing really well. Hey Karen, I see you over there in the chat, and or Karan, and the chat is on, but people must be captivated with whatever I'm saying right now. But thanks for joining up. And another example, Rob Atkinson. So Rob is, like I said, one of my business partners for a project that we just finished up. But in 2016, he made about $223,000 just from Amazon, by the way. So he has other revenue streams through other affiliate programs. In fact, he's one of the people that will be in the course for a section, a unit that I call Beyond Amazon, which is basically other affiliate programs. And, Rob makes a significant amount of money from other affiliate programs as well. We don't even talk about that much, but yep. So the point is, these are simple sites in a lot of cases, but they can really, if you take a methodical approach to it and apply a system, and you basically focus on the right areas, you can turn these into pretty lucrative, high margin websites. Okay, so let's get into it today. Hopefully I've convinced you that niche sites are cool. So let's talk about the SEO plan, because I mean, honestly, ideas are easy, the keywords are easy. Even setting up a site, is something that you could have done fairly cheaply, but the SEO part is definitely a longer term project, and you do have to take a methodical approach if you want to be able to recreate this and do it again and again. So I want to note this. So link building is a game of incremental gain. So 1% per day does add up over time. Most of the tactics and strategies here, most of them are not going to make a giant difference all of a sudden, but it's the compound effect of doing this over and over again. So this is a busy slide. There's several slides in here that just have a lot of text on it. Basically, it's the overview. I'll tell you real quick. I'll just kind of hit it at a high level. So you get the social profiles where we start off, then internal linking with silos, or at least the idea of silos, which I'll describe. Next is around blog commenting, then guest posting. Those are my primary tactics, by the way, 3 and 4. Blog commenting and guest posting. If you only focus on those 2 things, you should be fine. Next is 2 gray hat tactics, and these are things that violate the Google Webmaster Guidelines, so you're more at risk, but Web 2.0 blogs, private blog networks. And then last, a new one to this presentation is scholarship outreach. So that's actually a full topic, but I'll tell you the high level way to do it. And I mean, generally it's simple. So it's just, again, one of those time consuming things that not only takes time, but you have to pay a scholarship as well. Okay, so first, social profiles. This is something fast that you can do probably in an hour or so. So essentially, you go to a bunch of different social sites, social platforms, create a profile, and in the profile, put a link to your website. Super simple, and you're not, honestly, you're probably not going to like rank because of this, but it does add some legitimacy to your site, especially if it's an affiliate site. It'll allow you to basically network within your niche, and then if someone goes to take a look at your site and they see you have a profile on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, they'll know that you're taking your site seriously, you're putting some time in, and you're not just some marketer who is not interested in providing good content. So again, there are many other social platforms out there. So these are just some of the big ones that you could approach. And for me, I usually just do about 6 of them or so, like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Pinterest, and maybe LinkedIn. If you are into some of the other areas, then Instagram, you could do those too. And I do want to note, you don't have to be active on those channels. It's just important to like have the profile there. It might be nice if you were active on at least one. That's kind of a standard thing. Some people, there's not much time out there in the day, so like you can't be active on everything. But if you pick one, then someone could understand and why you would just be active on one. So social profiles. As I mentioned, be sure to add your link to the profile. That's important to do. It is a no-follow link, so you're not going to like jump in the rankings because of it, but basically you should have it in there. Next is internal linking with silos. So I do note silos here, but I will mention I don't actually implement silos anymore. If you want to find more information about like the internal linking strategy, go to my YouTube channel. There's actually a full training session on internal linking where I go like really deep into it. But here we'll just go into the high level area. So this does work for new sites or old sites. Here are the things that I like about internal linking. Number one, you control the links. And 2, you control the relevancy. So when you control the links, you can use whatever anchor text you want. So it could be keyword rich, which is great. As far as the relevancy, you can link from the content on your site that is, in the same topic area. And that is what you see in this URL structure here. So, you have topic 1, and then you have subtopics that are obviously related and more specific around that same main topic. So through that, you end up creating nice relevancy, and Google understands that your content is about that topic and subtopic. The problem with silos, as far as implementing them in a strict way with this URL structure, is you have to do a lot of planning and architecting ahead of time. You need to do it before you publish too much content, because it's hard to change it once it's out there. And that's why I don't actually like the silo part, but I do like one of the secondary effects of siloing. And here's just an illustration of the structure here. And the main thing, other than the URL structure, is with silos, you have all this internal linking. So the home page links to each one of these main topic pages, and then each of the topic pages goes to one of the subtopic pages, and those link back up. So you can see with these arrows that there's just a bunch of links all over the place. In fact, you could link from subtopic to other subtopic if it's relevant. Heck, even if it's not relevant, you could still do it. So the point is, you get this nice benefit of interlinking throughout your site. And if you think of a site like Wikipedia, which is interlinked like crazy, like that's kind of how it works. It's a giant web internally on the site that sort of passes the link juice and authority throughout the site. And of course, if someone's interested in subtopic 3, they probably have some interest in the main topic and probably some of the other related subtopics. So it's totally fair and it makes sense for someone to be interested in the same information. So I guess in summary here, you don't have to implement a silo. You can just publish posts on your site and then have them link to other pages. So, and that's really, if I had to summarize that other training I was describing, that's really what it's about. It's about interlinking all over the place, more than you think you need. So we're on to one of the tactics and strategies that I do primarily for link building and networking. So blog commenting. So a lot of people will say that blog commenting is not helpful. They'll say, these are no follow links. It doesn't actually help your rankings. So I'm not going to do them. So that's fine. If they say that, they must have another strategy. But in my opinion, blog commenting is totally natural. I comment on blogs for Niche Site Project because, I'm interested in other areas of, internet marketing, and I read other people's sites and I'll actually put a comment on their site. So it's normal. In addition, it helps you network. So if I go comment on someone's blog, they're probably going to remember it, especially if it's some sort of intelligent comment or something where I ask a question. They'll probably remember who I am. They may go look at my site and think, oh, Doug's a really cool guy. Hopefully that's what they think. And then they'll probably kind of remember me. And that helps out in the future, step 4, whenever we get to it. And it helps you build a relationship. And then next, it does add diversity to your backlink profile. So even if these are no follow links, you still end up with a link from some other domain on some other different IP address, which is important. In my opinion, it's good to have that diverse backlink profile where you have a lot of links from a lot of different sites, hopefully around the same sort of topic area that your site's about. The one thing you don't want to do is, try to put your specific URL that you're trying to rank in your website field. And if you're not familiar with the process, maybe if you're a little new to blog commenting, if you do go to Niche Site Project /blog commenting, there's like a video that shows you how to find blogs to comment on and like the right way to do it. So once you put in the URL for your root domain, that's all you need. In the video, I actually show you how to use or rather utilize this plugin called Comment Love, which allows you to get links back to specific posts, your most recent post. So occasionally, I think it's some small percentage of the time, you'll end up with do follow links. They are in the comments, but at the same time, they are do follow links, which are keyword rich because they use the title of your URL or your most recent post, that is. So anyway, blog comments are great because they do help you network within the niche. And next is guest posting. So like I mentioned before, it's pretty important to do your the networking via the blog commenting, because really the next step is around guest posting. Again, I will mention guest posting is natural. I guest post for Niche Site Project, and other people guest post on bigger sites, internet marketing sites, partly to share information, and then otherwise to basically have some promotion out there. People know who they are. And I mention it because some people do say that guest posting is just as risky as other techniques like private blog networks, but I question if they have any data behind it, because I've definitely seen some really bad PBNs out there, and those pass the algorithm like sniff test for, I guess it would be the penguin algorithm, but or update, however you would refer to it as. But the point is, guest posting is probably the best kind of contextual link that you could actually get. And sure, there's some risk out there for it, but I believe personally that it's far, far less than the risk of gray hat, like straight up gray hat techniques. Next, you can get links directly to your affiliate content. So I do say if it's worthy. So your affiliate content actually needs to be helpful and information, rich, and it needs to be relevant to whatever topic you're writing. But that's one of the biggest complaints I hear is people say, oh, I can't get links to my reviews. They won't let me do it. They'll only let me link to my homepage. And I really have, maybe 5% of the time I have that sort of trouble. But if you spend the time to build the relationship with the blogger, they will usually allow you to leave your link in, especially if it's highly relevant. One of the tricks for guest posting, especially for niches that don't monetize well, you can, pitch your guest post idea and also say, hey, it's going to be really, easy for you to add some of your referral links because I'm going to mention some specific products. So instead of just being a guest post where you put in links to your site, all of a sudden it becomes, a bit of a transaction where they're getting a piece of content that could actually be a moneymaker. So I'll repeat that again. Tell them that they should put their affiliate links in your guest post because you're going to mention products, and they will most likely leave your link in, and they'll probably, be happy that you wrote that for them, especially if it's a type of site that, or a blogger that doesn't monetize well. Next, it is like guest posting is a perfect step after blog commenting. So if you're spending time to build the relationship, you commented on the blog, maybe you send them an email. After that, you sort of have a relationship with them, and they're more likely to accept your guest post versus a cold pitch from some random person. And the last part, this is something no one talks about to my knowledge, but in the guest post that you're publishing, you can link to your old guest post, like previous guest post out there. So essentially you're link building to your other guest post. So if you come from a gray hat background, you can do tiered link building using white hat guest posts. So that's really powerful. Thing is, no one's going to build links to your guest posts except for you. If you have full control over it, then you're going to be able to link to a few of your guest posts over time and just about every one of your other guest posts that you're sending out. So when you think about the overall effect in the future, the compound impact that you'll have is big. So all of a sudden your rankings can move quite a bit after all these links and guest post age. Okay, next is Web 2.0 blogs, and basically these are gray hats. So again, against the terms of service by Google, and they are more risky. They still work. So that's why I'm going to cover them. So again, you can control the links 100%. You can control the anchor text for your links. And of course, the downside, three main downsides. One, it's risky. Two, basically these links are pretty much useless. They're very weak. They don't provide much authority unless you have other tiers of backlinks out there. And basically, if you're going to do this, you need to use a service like the Hoth. It works really well. You can get a little bump. I know people that use PBNs and gray hat techniques, they usually start with Web 2.0 blogs to get a little bit of a push. And if you couple this with something like the keyword golden ratio, it's probably going to be enough to rank. So I haven't mentioned that before, but basically you can, build Web 2.0s using the Hoth, point it to KGR content, and you'll probably get a decent push. Next, eventually these links do get de-indexed and or the power goes away. A lot of time, these Web 2.0 blogs are on platforms like Blogger, WordPress, and there's a bunch of others. There's dozens of others, but they don't want spam on their platform, so they can tell. They find them and they delete these accounts. So Web 2.0s, they work. If you're going to go with these, know that it's risky and use a service. Otherwise, it's really, if you're really strapped on your budget, you can build these on your own, but it's really kind of a pain in the ass and it's super boring. Next, private blog networks. Again, this is gray hat. Here, it's very similar to the Web 2.0s as far as controlling the links, controlling the anchor text. The difference here is these could be really powerful links. So these are basically expired domains that whoever owned them before didn't renew them, and those domains still have backlinks pointing to the site. Those make the domain powerful. So if you buy the domain, this expired domain, you can put new content out there. You can link to your money site or money sites and essentially rank using just private blog networks. Of course, with all that power, it's much more risky. So if you don't implement this stuff right, and it's easy to find your network, you're at risk for penalties. So there's a lot of areas to make a mistake here. And if you want your network to last and you don't want to lose money on the whole thing and get penalized, then you have to really watch what you're doing. It can be confusing to set up and manage. It's not too hard to set up 1 or 5 or even 10 domains. But at one point I had I think about 70 domains, and it was a lot of additional stress. That's 70 different domains that you have to renew. That's 70 different individual WordPress installations and so on. Really not a fun activity. And, in my opinion, it's roughly the same amount of work to do a PDN as it is to do the outreach. It's just different kind of work. So, people can do either one and both of them can work. Okay. Last is the scholarship outreach. So this is sort of new for this particular presentation. And because of our time constraints, I won't go too in depth, but basically here's how it works. By the way, has anyone done one of these scholarship campaigns? Let me know in the chat. Just say, yes or no. And if you happen to, or if you're interested, just say, hey, I'm interested in these scholarship campaigns. I want to know more in the future, something like that. So here's how it works. Go to any school, right? And you can pick a larger school if you want, or just whatever school. It doesn't matter. But you can find the scholarship page on the financial aid site or the scholarship area of the university. So from that point, you'll see a big list of scholarships that are available. You can essentially grab one of those links, go to the page. It's helpful if you're, whatever kind of site you're trying to build links to, you should try and find one similar. So if we're talking Amazon affiliate sites, try to find a scholarship that looks like an Amazon affiliate site title. You go to that page on the affiliate site, and then you have the URL. From there, you can take that URL, go to a tool like Ahrefs or Majestic. Those are sort of the best backlink crawlers out there. And from there, you can put in the specific URL and get all of the EDU links, all the scholarship pages from universities that do link out to that site from there, it's just a matter of contacting those schools because you know that they will link to scholarships on affiliate sites. So at that point, all you have to do is email them and announce the scholarship. Of course, finding the emails isn't necessarily an easy or fun thing, but for me, like I just hired a couple researchers on Upwork for, you know, I think I was paying like $6 for 100 contacts. And then at that point, you could email a bunch of those schools. And generally, you know, it can take, you know, a couple days to several weeks or even a month to get your link added. The thing is, you do have to pay out the scholarship, right? You have to pay out the scholarship, and on your scholarship page, whatever you're trying to link build to on your site, that's where you should have that URL linked on the scholarship page, so it does actually pass the link juice. So I do see a comment over from John about the scholarship stuff. So John says, you've done one of these campaigns, it doesn't work. You got about 30 links, but no power. So you think they were devalued. So yeah, and you know what, I've heard, well, I kind of suspect that a little bit. Pritam mentions you got 10 links, but after a few days, the links were dropped. So they like, Pritam, they remove them from the scholarship pages, or they just didn't show up in backlink crawlers? Just curious on that. So in the disclosure here, I haven't talked much about the scholarship outreach because it got really popular about a year and a half ago, sort of a renaissance, because a few people were talking about like how well they worked, and I'll just leave it at that. So they were talking, it was about to be abused because someone was publishing it exactly how to do it. So it's not really hard overall, but you know, from what I hear also from John and Pritam, it sounds like, you know, there's so many links on those pages that like the value may not be passed. Google may not be really like looking at those links as really valuable because, you know, marketers abuse these ideas and strategies. So, you know, my take is it may be good to get a handful of EDU links as, you know, just diversity to your backlink profile. But when it comes down to it, like, can you rank your whole site based on just scholarship outreach? I'm not so sure. And I know there's a very popular case study about someone who did this and was making like 20K a month from their site. And, you know, I would just wonder if there's other things that they did aside from the scholarship outreach, for example. I know in internet marketing, a lot of times it's a lot more interesting to have a simple story that people think they can do. if you make it sound easy, then basically it'll be a more popular story. So if someone's like, I just went out and got 40 scholarship backlinks and all of a sudden I was making 20K a month, there's probably more to the story, right? Like nothing's that easy. And if everyone can do it, it is worthless. So all of a sudden it stops being valuable. Okay, 5-figure niche site. So I will give a little spiel about 5-figure niche site. And I think, actually I know, kind of cool, a handful of people that are on the call are students or former students. Hey, the course was awesome. But right now, enrollment is open for another like 36 hours, roughly, something like that. So you can get into the course if you head over to, I think I actually have a little link that I can put up over here. So hopefully you can see the offer. If you head over there, enrollment is open until the end of day tomorrow. So I have a few enrollment periods per year. You can't you can't enroll at any time. So you really only have about the 36 hours unless you want to wait until next time. And basically it goes start to finish from, brainstorming a niche to implementing, competition research, implementing your site, getting content, applying to the associates program, link building, a lot more detail. Like today was a bit of an overview on each section, but each of the things I talked about could be a full course. Some would just be sections, but there's a lot of information, a lot of detail inside the 5-figure niche site. And a couple new things. I don't usually do webinar pitches like this, so I'll just tell you a couple of the new things about the course. So there are 3 new units that I'm going to add. One is around email list building for niche sites and then using those effectively. So I have a few email lists on my sites. So I guess the full total is in the 12,000 range. So that's enough to make a difference. If I send out an email, I could drive traffic to whatever page that I want, 100 more visitors, and, just get more engagement on my site on an ongoing basis. And if you know anything about the amount of content that I have on my site, there's a few hundred posts. So if I have a couple hundred people going to a given page every few days, that's really powerful. And there's enough pages where, that spans out over the course of, a year and a half or something. Now I haven't done that long of an email sequence, but over the holidays, this could be really powerful to have an email list to let everyone know about the Cyber Monday deals, or, maybe around Mother's Day, you could send out an email to let people know products that are good gifts on Mother's Day, stuff like that. The other new unit is around beyond Amazon. So that's other programs aside from the Amazon Associate Program. So there's Share a Sale, there are dozens of others. There's individual affiliate programs for some companies. Sometimes companies don't have anything set up at all, but if you can show that you have traffic and that you can make sales, believe me, they will work with you. All you have to do is ask. So in that unit, I interview a couple people. One is Rob, one is Gabby. Gabby was a student. Rob, I coached him, and then, we worked together on the projects I talked about. So they're making good money from other programs as well. And we go, pretty deep into that on those units, or in that unit. And then the third one is a 6-figure exit. So, since I was part of a team, me and Rob, selling a site for $235,000, there's not many people that have that inside background knowledge, have actually done it. It was not you can't throw this together quick, right? We started, 10 months ahead of time. We planned it out. There were a lot of hurdles along the way. I talk about this in Project Go White Hat, the 12-part, part 12 comes out tomorrow, by the way. The 12-part series where, we started at the beginning and we had a lot of ups and downs because, let's face it, it's a business and there's unpredictable things happening. You have to make decisions without having all the information that you need and just move forward. So that unit will be brand new. It'll be based on, that experience of actually selling a site for over 6 figures. And for a lot of people, they are interested in, maybe buying a site that's established and improving it and increasing the revenue and then selling it to go ahead and claim all that, 2 to 3 years of revenue up front, which is effectively, what happens when you sell a site. So I see a question, and okay, yeah, a couple things. Yeah, so existing students, yes, you will get access to the new modules, and that's just how the course works. So I didn't, I guess show it off as a sales aspect when I was selling it before. But yeah, you get the lifetime updates. I am making a few updates here and there for stuff that, is no longer applicable. In addition, when I add stuff, you'll get that too. And it's not published yet, right? So I drip out all the content, as you guys know, Kyle and Pritam. So I drip out the content, so you won't get it right away. But when it is released, you'll get it. And yeah, you'll know. So anyway, if you're interested in the course, if you're interested in starting one of these sites, if you are interested in increasing the revenue on an existing site, you should check it out. I will mention there's a 60-day like money back guarantee. I do ask that you actually like do the work, right? You have to set, like if you want a refund, then you have to say, I gave it a shot, it didn't work, that sort of thing. It's pretty generous, to be honest with you. I mean, sometimes people get busy. Actually, there's a guy who purchased the course earlier this year. He's a freelancer. He has his own business. He has an agency. He had too many clients. He was like, I don't have time to work on it right now. Can you give me a refund? I gave him a refund, and he actually bought it again yesterday. So, I mean, I'm pretty generous. Things happen, and I understand that. So if you're interested, please check it out. Enrollment is open for like 36 more hours. Okay, now we get to the questions here, and I will scroll down because I saw some coming in earlier. Okay, and right now is the time to ask questions. So if you had them or you have like questions on the content today, those are the best ones to ask. If you have other random questions, you could let me know, and I'll usually field them if they're related to niche sites and stuff. So okay. And just to recap, so Robert says, is this video on YouTube? Yeah, it'll be out there, but if you're here, you got the link and you'll be able to watch the replay later. And as far as watching on the iPhone, Mark, I have no idea. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I feel like it should work, but I haven't tried on the other side. Karan asks about SoundCloud for social profiles. Sure, that one would work too. I honestly, I've never set one up on SoundCloud, but I know it's a thing, so I think it would be viable. And Dennis says, blog comments add more referring domains to your domain ranking. That is true. I have actually seen some domains that are basically really, they have really strong domain rankings or domain authority or trust flow, and it's mainly through, not trust flow, but it's mainly through the blog commenting, just the sheer volume. And you can see that when you look at a backlink profile and you see like most of the anchor text is a person's name, and most of the links are nofollow. But regardless, like having those links isn't a bad thing. Next, Pritam mentions that it's tough to find guest posting opportunities who are not monetized well. Most are affiliate links or somehow making money. You know what? I would challenge you on that, Pritam, but it could just be that I'm looking at a certain like set of niches and you're looking at another certain set. But I would suggest if you could figure out like something related where it's not a well monetized niche, you'll have a much better time. So I'm not sure like what areas of the internet you're looking or what areas that I'm looking and why they're different, but there's a lot of like most sites online don't make money, right? So most sites are poorly monetized. So, and Pritam says, after doing outreach for blogs, asking for guest posts, they asked for money. I have been hearing that more and more, and that is due to all of us marketers sending out emails like that. So that's another case where, you have to look at the pros and cons. Like if it's a good site, you think it can pay off, like it may be worth it to pay that. I've done a tiny bit of experimenting with that, but not enough to have a conclusive answer. I think, like most things, once these bloggers are figuring out they could actually make money for their blogs, like then that means they're going to be asking for more and more money, driving the prices up. And then at that point, Google will probably, if enough people are doing it, Google will probably like devalue some of those links that, look or devalue some of the sites that have a ton of those links. And Pritam, if you follow me here, like I would say if people are asking for you to pay them for the guest post, then they're probably not monetized that well. I could be a little off, but I would have a hunch. So as we're going through, I see some more questions. What about donation sites that allow you to add your link? So Dennis asked that question. Dennis, I'll tell you, I think it'd be okay to get a few of those links, just maybe 2 to 5 of them or so. You don't want it to be like the majority of your backlink profile, but again, I think it could be a way to diversify your backlink profile, a way to get some do-followed links. As long as it's not the majority of your links, it's probably an okay thing to do. And as we're going through, Charmaine says the scholarship stuff stopped working around mid-May. And interesting about that. And just to repeat, if someone missed it, but the new units that are in 5-figure niche site, you can, if you're already a student, you would have access to it as long as it's advanced and premium members. So if you're a basic member, you would get access to it. Sorry if I didn't mention that, but it's for the advanced stuff. And basically the content in those, like if you're just starting, like you won't be able to use that information for another like 12, 18, 24 months. Like it's pretty advanced. You have to have the site rolling. Like you can't sell a site for 6 figures if you're just getting started. It takes some time. Okay, Robert says the payment page says 8 monthly payments. Is the course presented over 8 months? No, it's actually over about, at this point, it'll be like 8 to 12 weeks, depending on like what package you get. And the material is available ongoing. That is correct, in perpetuity. Yep. For the lifetime of the course, there will be some day, right, where the Amazon Associate Program like isn't profitable, but basically you get lifetime access. Additionally, for the Q&A sessions, by the way, folks that already are students, the Q&A inner circle sessions are now like, you get lifetime access to those. So if you sign up and let's say you're not able to start working in the course on the material for another several months or something, then you wouldn't attend the inner circle sessions for advanced and premium members. And at that point, you could just attend them later, right? Attend them when you're taking the course, or if you make a lot of progress and then you have additional questions sometime in the future, you can attend those sessions as well. That's the first time that I've done that. If it kind of explodes, I may have to taper it down. So that's a new thing. And Robert also asked, how does one determine which course to take, premium, advanced, or basic? Most companies have a plan that allows multiple domains on one monthly plan with multiple domains for multiple sites. Okay, so a couple questions. The main thing, and Robert, you can shoot me an email too, and I can go like in depth with your particular situation. I personally, like, it depends on like your background knowledge. So if you're brand new to niche sites, you probably want to take the basic one or the advanced. The advanced gets you to the inner circle coaching sessions. And I know just based on the involvement that people had, people like Leo, for example, in the inner circle sessions, like those are like hugely valuable. And it's super hard for me to like explain how valuable they are on the sales page. But that is huge. So basically it's 8 1+ hour sessions through the course where I cover the course material in like a super high level and then just answer questions. So you could watch the videos, try and work on keyword research, and then you have questions. So then you could come and ask in a group setting for those inner circle sessions. And the other thing to mention on premium versus advanced versus basic, a lot of people, to be honest with you, make a decision based on their budget that they have available. So next thing, your question is around multiple domains for multiple niche sites. Yeah, you could put them on, you could put multiple niche sites on the same hosting account. At some point, you'll get enough traffic where you'll probably want to separate it, just because that's what I've done. So a site would be on a shared hosting plan. It gets, say, 300 to 500 visitors per day, and I'll go ahead and pull it off, put it on its own hosting account, just so it stands alone. I don't want the server bogged down. I want fast response times and the site to load fast. But yeah, when you're getting started, you can put multiple sites in the same hosting package. Matt Jazz, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Should I link to my older guest post from new guest post? Yes, you should do that. Is it a big footprint? There's some footprint, but the thing is, like, a lot of us are coming from the PBN world, the gray hat world, where you have to really watch like where your links are coming from and the footprints. But the thing is, like, if you're guest posting on like different sites that have like diverse backlink profiles, they're on different IP addresses, they are just, they're on different hosting accounts and like different registers, like everything's separate. Like, I don't think your risk is going to be that big. And then the other thing is, you can always like keep really good track and know that you're not interlinking too much. Like, you're not interlinking to every single one of the domains. I will mention, we did that on Project Go White Hat, where we got 45 guest posts. Like, after the first 10, like any of the guest posts after that linked to an old one. Like, there was a lot of that going on. Okay. Jeremy says, how many units are available right away? This is for the 5-figure niche site. How many units are available right away when you sign up? So you would get, the course is dripped out. You don't get access right away. There are rare occasions where I will unlock the course if you have like the right background, if you have baseline knowledge and you have sites in place that are making money. So I deal with that on a case-by-case basis. To answer your question exactly, when you sign up right away, you get access to Unit 0. And then on Monday, the course starts, you get access to Unit 1. And then essentially for the next like 10 weeks, you get a unit per week, except for 2 work weeks where it takes a long time to do that work. So I give you 2 weeks to do that work. But Jeremy, if you have a site already making money or something like that, then I can unlock them for you. Again, very rare cases, but basically there are portions where people can go and learn about, say, content strategy and link building. And if they already have a site, they can go implement it, start making those changes, and get an ROI like basically right away. Okay. And Jeremy, just to note, like, I drip out the material because what happens is, and I'm not talking about you specifically, Jeremy, but what happens is a person may take the course, right? They sign up and then they watch all the videos and then they think, oh yeah, I knew that about keyword research. I heard it on some other podcast. And then they may say, oh yeah, I know about competition analysis, and oh, I also know how to do that link building stuff. So like, I get the concepts, and then they actually don't do any of the work. They don't do the worksheets. They take no action. So the course is dripped out to hopefully force you to boredom to actually do the work. And I found from giving all the material at once versus dripping it out, like, these students do much better with it because they actually have time to work on it, and the worksheets take you through it. So, and Leo mentions the inner circle sessions were totally amazing. You came each week with a list of questions and Doug answered them all. Thanks, Leo. Really appreciate it. And I think that may be all the questions here. So any other questions before we finish up today? It's very warm here today. It's like this wall, there's a wall right here and a window. It's nice to have the window to get some light in, but it's like Eastern facing. So the sun rises at, I don't know, like 4:45 or something, and like just shines and heats up this wall. And then this is a south facing wall. So it gets all the sun. It just kind of warms up, and I can't turn on a fan because, you know, it'll be noisy. So, yeah, it's like that. Oh, Robert needs my email. You can reach me here at doug@nichesiteproject.com. Boom. Okay, cool. Let's see, Dennis, thanks for joining up. Appreciate it. Robert, shoot me the email and I'll answer your questions. You do have some time to, you know, make a decision and stuff. Kat, I'll release the course again sometime probably in October. So I usually do it like every quarter or so. So yeah, probably in the October timeframe. Excellent. So any other last questions before we finish up here? And then I could turn on a fan, and, you know, I got to clean, you know, with my buddy TJ coming in tomorrow, or coming in today. Like he's in the air now. He's in the air right now. Got to clean up a little bit, you know, do normal stuff. I just vacuumed, and got some more stuff to do. And I think if people are interested, I'm doing the live stream. I'll still do a live stream like tomorrow morning, probably like 10:30 or 11 o'clock, like around right now. So you can go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. If you click the little bell for notifications, it'll tell you when I go live. TJ and I will be hopefully talking about something interesting. I'm not sure what we'll be doing at that time of day, but anyway. Wesley asked about the course. Do I cover outsourcing the writing in the course? Yes, I do. In fact, there are 2 secret new videos in the course where I go to this. I just shot it a couple weeks ago. I go into Upwork, I log in, I show you exactly how I create a job posting. Like I click this and it's just a 20-minute screen flow of me creating the job posting using the templates that are provided in the course. And then after that, I waited like 2 or 3 days, and I had a bunch of proposals from freelance contractors for the gig for writing. And I showed you like, hey, it could be overwhelming. Here's how I sort through it. And I, you know, my corporate career, I interviewed like roughly, I don't know, 100 or so people. So I have like some skill in sorting through resumes and looking at these proposals, which, like I said, it can be overwhelming. So I actually go through and show you like, hey, this person's out, this person's in. And I went through and I hired about 8 writers based on that. So yep, it's in there, and I go deep into detail. That's a pretty valuable video. It's not something that I put on YouTube or anything like that, since it's a lot of like proprietary like stuff that I'm doing in there. Cool. Any other questions out there? Awesome. Well, thanks for joining up. Definitely check out the YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the chat, so if anyone's still around, you can go over there and subscribe, which will be cool, and you can get notifications over there. So, and I'll go ahead and end it, and I'll see everyone hopefully soon. Hopefully some people inside the course. So thanks, and see you next time.